Hello students, today we are going to discuss three questions. The first question is, what are the ideals of liberal nationalism? Any question is coming related to liberal nationalism from chapter 1 history. So you can write like this. Before writing you have to understand, first of all keep in mind the points, and in your exam time you can explain. First point is freedom for the individual. Here, in our day to day life we are enjoying a lot of freedom. For example, that whenever you want to speak, that's freedom of speech. When you want to go from one place to another place, that is called another freedom. So this is called freedom for the individual. Plus officially we have the fundamental rights, 8 fundamental rights. For example, right to equality, right to freedom, that right against exploitation. So all the right to information, so all this all called. So at that time also, each and every European, they wanted freedom, and that was the main aim of liberal nationalism. So first point is freedom for the individual. So this individual freedom you can divide into private as well as the official. Second one is equality before law. Even in our fundamental rights also we have right to equality. So here also in Europe, if you have studied French Revolution, you know in class 9 that France was divided into two class, privileged class and unprivileged class. Privileged class, they were enjoying all the facilities without paying any tax. So there was no equality. And liberal nationalism, the aim of liberal nationalism is to provide equality at least before law. So this is the second aim of liberal nationalism. The first one is freedom for the individual, and second one is equality before law. Third one is, nowadays we are electing around 194 democratic countries are there in the world, and almost all these countries are elected indirectly, that is by the people. So this is called consent. Consent means when people get agree. And so the even in India also, or whether it's United States, or you go to any other democratic countries where the government comes to power by the voting, that is by the consent of the people. So you can add here by the consent of the people. So this is the third aim of liberal nationalism. And the fourth one is, liberal nationalism stood for the end of autocracy. So here please, mistake is there, you please cut down one F here. So to end of autocracy, yeah, autocracy means all of you know that rule by one, that may be a king also, maybe a autocratic military ruler also. So at that time the particularly king was autocrat. So liberal nationalism also another aim that always stood against the end of autocracy. Last one also, liberal nationalism also supported for the freedom of market, because at that time there was a lot of restriction, there were a lot of variation also was there in the weight and measures, plus a lot of tax was imposed by the different areas. So if you go to for today in the 21st century, or today if you go, you will find out there is no barrier in the European countries. So they do business together. If you want to go France to Belgium, or Belgium to you go to Italy, so you won't find any barrier. So there is free service there, free transportation is there from one place to another place. So freedom of market also was another aim of the liberal nationalism. So boys, here you have to explain. I have only mentioned the points, you have to explain each and every point. Now let us proceed to next question. Another question here, this is not that much important, but it may come also. So that is called, what is romantic nationalism, main features of. Now without wasting time, let me tell you, actually romantic nationalism, they concentrated on only particular. Okay, for example, suppose if you are belongs to a particular religion, whether you are Hindu or Muslim or Christian, suppose if you are supporting your one religion and you don't like other religions, so definitely your thinking will be coming under romantic. So at that time also in Europe, many people were there, they supported to particularly, you can say, the monarchy, they supported to church. Okay, they had a one type of sentiment, one type of thought. Okay, so boys, please remember here, when a group of people or particularly people, they support to a particular idea, a particular political idea, maybe a religious idea, that's called nationalist sentiment, and that comes under romantic nationalism. Second one is also romantic nationalism are the people those who believed in, or you can say they criticize the glorification of resonant science. So they believed only in tradition, because you know the religion, for example, there is no science behind religion. It means still now it is not truth. So here romantic nationalism are the people those who did not like logic, those who did not like any science, any religion. uh, so they were identified as the romantic nationals. Okay, they were also loving their country, but they did not like with logic. Thus they believed and they had argument for that. For example, suppose you like your cricket team, even if the team is not good, still you are supporting. So in that here you are just you are without any logic, without any reason you are supporting. So you will be coming under the romantic nationalism. So in Europe also people were like this. I'm talking about, we are discussing about from 1815 to 1940, the first chapter of history. So I'm talking about at that time, not present time. The third point also, it promoted vernacular language, that is called regional languages. If you go to different parts of India, we find there are 28 states are there. In 28 states you will find 28 languages. So but with that we are discussing about Europe history. So in Europe also, different parts of Europe, for example, whether it's Italy or it's Germany, whether it's Austria or France, whether it's Portugal, everywhere that the regional languages were promoted by the nationals, and they were called as the romantic nationalism. So in romantic nationalism, the keywords you can say that they wanted a particular national sentiment, whether example you can say supporting to church or supporting to monarchy. Second one, they did not like logic, science, reason. Third one, they supported to vernacular language, or you can say regional languages. For example, suppose if you are speaking Hindi, then you are supporting to Hindi. Suppose a person is speaking Tamil, so he is supporting Tamil. So that's called promoting regional languages. This is our second question. Now, third question is, what were the causes of the Silesian weavers of uprising? What were the causes of the, why did the weavers of the Silesian, that is actually we find is this question about Italy unification. If you see the Italy map, there is two Sicilies there. Okay, North Sicily, South Sicily. So the weavers, they they started revolting against their owners, and there were four reasons I have written here. The first one is that the payment, okay, the payment of the weavers were reduced by the contractors, that created particularly the weavers, they got angry and they started protesting. One of the causes, payments to weavers were reduced. The second point is that the living conditions, weavers, they were, the rooms provided by the owners or the place they were staying, that was the worst condition, in the worst condition they were living. So that also was another reason, where one of the reason, because of that reason they got angry and protested against their owners. We are discussing here the weavers. Why did the weavers they stood against their owners? The first point is payment of weavers were reduced. Second point is the working conditions, the living conditions inside the factory, or that was, that were not satisfactory. Third point also, that many of the weavers, they were jobless, work, they didn't have proper work, they were getting just, you can say seasonal you can say seasonal unemployment. They were get in different seasons they were getting employment, in other seasons they were not getting. For example, suppose a person is during Christmas time he is selling something and getting money, in other season not getting. Suppose a person is selling something during the Holi or Diwali or Muharram, and other time not getting job. That type is called unemployment. So here also, in that time in Europe also, many of the weavers, they did not get proper job around, you can say the around the year. They were getting job, they were getting work only for 2 months, 1 month, like this. And the last one is the weavers were the living standard of the weavers were very poor. It was up to not satisfaction. So all these 4 points, there were many factors are there, but here deliberately have written 4 points. So these 4 points were the causes of the Silesian or weavers, and they staged revolt, or you can say they organized a revolt against their owners. So this may be a question you can prepare also. Thank you for listening.